All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fernand, and in this video, we're back in the 147-pound division where Jaron Ennis updates us on what he believes is going to be happening for him at 147 pounds. And it is again that he will be elevated to the IBF championship after the Errol Spence Jr. versus Keith Thurman fight, which actually may lead to better fights at 147 pounds. Let's talk about what Jaron had to say and the likelihood of that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fernand, and in this video, we're going to be in a 147-pound division talking about one of my favorite young contenders, actually not even a contender anymore, young champions, and you can put an asterisk on that champion if you want to or not, Jaron Ennis, who is the IBF interim champion, who was asked in an interview, talked in an interview about what his next steps are, and said that he believes that he very well may become the full IBF champion after Errol Spence Jr. fights Keith Thurman, because Errol Spence Jr. is more than likely going to vacate his belts. Now, before I get into the details of that and whether that makes sense or does not, and what it means for the welterweight division, let me say thank you so much to everybody that is checking in on this video. If you are new to the channel, thank you for checking out the video. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. We're doing really good content on a daily basis. We don't stop grinding over here. Also, if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you so much for continuing to have this very prolonged boxing conversation that we've been having over the last couple years. Been chopping it up about pretty much everything in boxing, specifically in the live stream. So thank you guys for supporting and sponsoring the live streams with your super chats and cash apps. And people, thank you so much to everybody that sponsors videos like this with their super thanks. Greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. But let's get into this, because I think this is something that more than likely will happen, man. We've been watching the welterweight division, the 154-pound division, for several years on this channel. If you're not familiar, 147 pounds is my favorite weight class historically in boxing, along with the welterweights and the lightweights. I really do believe that boxing revolves around the health of boxing, revolve around those three weight classes. You can also say 160 pounds, but those are the weight classes that I've always really enjoyed. And over the last few years, we have had, very, very good welterweights in the division between, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Now we have, two young guys that I think are really, really exceptional in the weight division, in Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. However, unlike, when it was in the 90s, when we had, which I believe was the last time we really had a lot of very, very solid welterweights at the same time. Now, of course, there was Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao had their time at the weight division. But, those guys were, coming up, and they kind of culminated at 147 pounds. But in the 90s, you had, Tito Trinidad, you had Oscar De La Hoya, you had Shane Mosley, you had times, when guys like rest in peace, Vernon Forrest was out there. Ricardo Mayorga was a really interesting character around the time, as well. But, and I'm sure I miss some other people as well. But just very, very good welterweights. And that's the class that we've had. Unfortunately, we did not get the fight to top it off, which was the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight. And it looks like Terrence Crawford doesn't want to fight him. So Errol is probably going to be moving up. Well, he is going to be moving up to 154 pounds. Now, currently, he's the IBF, WBA, and the WBC champion. And the WBC had ordered him to fight Keith Thurman. Now, Jaron Ennis was the number one rated guy for the IBF. And in his last fight that he had against Kareem Kukadajev, sorry, I'm probably killing his name, he became the IBF interim champion. So a lot of people are speculating, and I myself probably believe that that's probably the case as well, that Errol Spence Jr., after he fights Keith Thurman, is probably going to stay at 154 pounds. There is the chance that if they could somehow make the Terrence Crawford fight, that that he could come back down and go for undisputed at 147 pounds. But seeing as Terrence Crawford has said he does not want that fight, or he said that fight will never happen. And he said that multiple times, had an inability to make the fight last time when they were going through 6 months of negotiation. I'm not going to hold my breath, nor do I think Errol, Spence Jr. and Showtime and those guys are going to hold their breath, which leaves Jaron Ennis with what he said, which is that he will more than likely be elevated to the championship, the IBF 147-pound championship. And that would be, there's a good side and bad side to that. The good side to it is that as if he becomes a new IBF champion, then we can start again the attempt to get an undisputed title at 147 pounds. The PBC still has a lot of the good welterweights, and more than likely those belts will probably still stay with the PBC if as long as Al Heyman is able to get Jaron Ennis, shots at whoever wins the vacant belts. Because, like, for example, with maybe except for the WBO, because the WBO is still going to be with Terrence Crawford for the time being, but the WBC, even if Keith Thurman loses against Errol Spence, if he goes back down, more than likely he'll get a shot at that WBC belt. You also have guys like Cody Crowley who are up towards the top, of the division. But ultimately, what it's going to come down to, I think, at that division is the Golden Boy fighter who is going to be the WBO, who may be the WBA regular champion after he fights Amanda Stanionis, and that's Virgil Ortiz. Now, I do have to say something. I've had a lot of people that in my comment section saying, "Look, man, stop overlooking Amanda Stanionis. Stanionis is going to beat Virgil Ortiz, because Virgil Ortiz is not used to people that can fight at that pace. And I'm not going to lie, man, Stanionis is a good fighter, man. Beating Butiev was not some easy thing, man, because I liked Jamal James. I know that Jamal James doesn't have the most power in the world, but Jamal James is a good fighter. And when Butiev convincingly beat Jamal James, and then Stanionis came and I think convincingly beat Butiev, man, it definitely impressive thing. But so in one or two scenarios, whoever gets that WBA regular championship could very well get elevated to the WBA super champion. And then, especially if it's Amanda Stanionis, would be able to fight Jaron Ennis for unification. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just looking forward to seeing more of Jaron Ennis. I hope even if Errol Spence Jr. gets to 154 and Terrence Crawford goes to 154, that, when he moves up there, that, maybe so we can get another really, really good battle between fighters like we got at 154 over the last several years. It wound up with Jermell Charlo being the undisputed champion. I just hate that it got held up over there at 147 pounds because Terrence Crawford wouldn't take that fight. But I don't think you're going to have any of those problems if Jaron Ennis gets that IBF belt. You may get some problem out of Oscar De La Hoya if Virgil Ortiz gets the WBA belt, but I think, but however it goes, man, we're going to have some more good times and a lot of really good fights at that weight division. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.